do a game review of Sherlock Holmes. Um, so I want to do that really fast. So if you have like other life things, then yeah. So this is the game. It's Sherlock Holmes. Hold on, I gotta figure out where my camera is. It's Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. The Thames, or yeah, Thames Murders and Other Cases. Okay, so there's like I think 8 cases in here. Is it a tabletop role-playing game? Um, I'll ask Matt. I don't know. Yes, we play it on top of a table, and then we are playing the role of. We're irregulars for the Baker Street boys. So we're basically like Sherlock Holmes interns, and we're trying to solve the crime. I don't think it's in depth as D&D. Okay, so here it came in this cool box, and then everything kind of like everything slid out of this box right here. Okay, so that was that. And so inside there was a rule book, and the rules were so short. Like I read them in like 5 seconds. So short. There's a little bit of a story, and then just the object of the game, and then it talks about the map, the newspapers, a phone book, like a phone directory, and then how the case books work. Okay, there's 10 case books. So you can play this game 10 times, and then you can't play it again because you'll already know the solution. Okay? And then it goes into how you keep score. And then really the back of this book is just kind of like a little vignette about Sherlock Holmes talking to the Baker Street boys. Okay, so then what you do is you pick out your case. So you pick out your case. We did the first one, but I already put it behind everything else. Actually, I will get it because I don't want to ruin it, because the guys will think I cheated. Hold on. So these are all the case booklets. And then there's the one we did. Okay. And it's like really nice. Okay, so there's the other 9. Here was the first one, and it recommends going in order by the date. So you open this up and you start reading the case file, and it kind of gives you a little bit of history and who you're interviewing, and then you even have clues like this. So that's all you want to look at. And then you start thinking, okay, how can I solve this murder, or whatever it was. This one was a murder. So how do you solve this murder? And then you think about, okay, well, what would I do first? Well, what I wanted to do first was go to the crime scene. So I want to go to the crime scene. So in this little story part at the top, it told us where the crime scene was. And then we had to use this map of London to locate the crime scene. So I just knew like the name of it. I knew the name. So then we just kind of had to search around and look for the name on the building. Once we found the name, then we got the address, like, let me see, over here, like Southwest is the portion of London, and then we found the address here. So you get the address. Once you have the address from the map, then you can either go to the map, or you can go to your phone directory and try to look up the address in the phone directory. So we just were trying to go to the guy's office building. So I don't remember if we looked it up from the map. I think we looked it up in both. And then this is the phone directory, where you can try to find their address in there too. Okay, so the address is key. Once you have their address, then you go back into the case booklet and you find that portion of London, and you find the address. Okay, I think this is actually the first one we went to. And then you read this passage, and this is the interns or the investigators talking to the person at the address. And so you get some information, you don't get some information. But then through that and what we found out from the original case that we read, you have to figure out what your next step is, what your next clue is. So there were three of us. So I went first and I decided to go to the crime scene. And then I think Matt went and he decided to interview the business partner or something. Oh my God! Bathtub long nose. Hi! Thank you for following me. Oh my God, I haven't had a follower in a minute. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so then you just keep, so my turn, then it was Matt's turn, and he chooses the lead. We can kind of talk together, but he chooses the lead, and then he looks it up in the book, and then reads the passage, and then it goes to the next player. Then they choose a lead, and then they look it up, and sometimes you have to use the map. Like, I wanted to investigate what was right across the street from the office building, where I know I wanted to find out. I wanted to interview the people right across the street from the office building. So I went there and I had to look at the map to find out where it was. That's the only way we could have figured it out. Okay, so you just continue doing that, and then you have your newspaper. So you can only use the newspaper for the day of your murder or investigation or crime, and then anyone's previous. So on our next case, we'll get to use the newspaper we already used and one more. So by the end, you'll have 10 newspapers. And I guess there's clues for later cases embedded in earlier newspapers. So I thought that was really cool. The prose on here is a little confusing sometimes. I'm not quite used to reading one newspapers and then newspapers from 1888. But this was really fun too. And kind of, usually one person was kind of like reading newspapers, and a lot of the story is put in here too. So then you just kind of keep taking turns, and then you kind of figure out. We kind of went. I think we went down. Maybe we had an idea, and that didn't pan out. We found clues, and then we went down another path, and then that didn't work out. And then we found like, no, well, it has to be this. So then when we think we got it, you go to the back of your case file, and you look in the back, and then it's upside down. And then it asks you a series of questions. And then you, on your piece of paper, then you write down what your answers are to these questions. Then you go to solutions and find out what really happened. Once you find out what really happened, then you open up this envelope in here, and it shows you, it gives you points for what you got right, and then comparing your score to Sherlock Holmes. Well, Sherlock Holmes got a score of 100, so we did not get a score of 100. Another thing I like to do with all the board games that we play, I can't get this quite back in there. With all the board games that we play, I'll usually take the inside of the top box and write in the date that we played, and then who played, and then who won. I've been doing it for years. I love it to see what games we play the most and who is in there. So I just put it down in the case booklet. I put who won, the date that we tried to solve it, and then what our point totals were. So I'm sure that once we get done playing all of these, we're going to pass it on to someone else. So that'll be interesting for them to compare a normal person's score. Okay, so this was so fun. I guess Matt said it's a lot like his Dungeons and Dragons Call of Cthulhu games. I really liked it. I thought it was fun. It took us about 2.5 hours to play, but after the first case, you definitely figure out kind of like how it works and what we have ideas how we're going to do it a little different next time. Like after going through one and seeing what the questions are and the points are, we know kind of which lane to go in. But yeah, we really, really liked it. I've never played that Hunt a Killer game. But yeah, this was fun, and it was different enough from any other board game that I really like it. And I was like, oh, let's play another one. And they're like, no, we're gonna go watch TV. And I was like, okay, cool. So that was Sherlock Holmes review.